Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
We still have a frost advisory in effect with widespread temperatures in the 30s, but I'll show you when we'll start to warm up.
And we continue to watch a crash on I-95 northbound causing some major issues for us this morning. We'll talk about exactly where this is at and the delays we're seeing coming up.
Also now on Fox 50 at 8, safety and funding. Governor Stein talks public education priorities, the gathering of state educators in Raleigh today. And eyeing the Elite Eight, Duke takes on Arizona in Sweet 16 play tonight. The final men's triangle team fighting to advance in this year's NCAA tournament. We'll talk about that coming up. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 50 at 8. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Well, if you've been outside already, you know it's cold out there this morning. You need the jacket. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with a freeze watch until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we do have a frost advisory that's in effect until 9 o'clock. Looking at temperatures in the 30s still, even near freezing still up near the Virginia line. But from here on out, temperatures will start to warm up. We do have 30s widespread across the triangle. And again, near freezing in some places, 32 in Holly Springs, 31 Clayton, 30 in Chapel Hill. But we're looking at temperatures climbing into the mid-60s this afternoon, similar to yesterday. These temperatures this morning, though, have been about 5 to 10 degrees colder than what we saw yesterday. A good bit of sunshine here over North Hills, 37 degrees in the triangle. Our wind is calm now, but the winds will pick up a little this afternoon, and we still do have high fire danger again today. Highs will be in the mid-60s under partly cloudy skies, but I'll show you what will bring us a huge warm-up for tomorrow and the weekend. Coming up, Anthony.
And Elizabeth, we get a check on the roads this morning. We do have a crash that we've been watching pretty closely here. I-95 northbound. This is right at Keene Road to the north is where this is closed. Also Keenan Road to the south. You can see definitely some major issues there, major backups showing up. We do have WRAL's Eric Miller out there at the scene. Eric, set the stage for us. What are you seeing this morning?
Anthony, just in the last couple of minutes, State Highway Patrol troopers told me they're opening up this second lane here of I-95 northbound. That'll help clear up some of these backups after what has been a major mess this morning. Just take a look. You can see a lot of that mess still left over here at the scene. Troopers tell us this was a 3-car crash. The driver of that black Camaro you see right there, that is the vehicle they say was responsible for this crash. That vehicle was out here driving recklessly, hit 2 different work trucks, leaving debris scattered all across I-95 in its wake. Now, there was one bit of luck, one bit of good news here, because that debris was actually surprisingly easy to clean up thanks to this right here, this skid steer, which got rolled off that trailer there in the background. Despite the top of it here being just completely crumpled and caved in, it was still operational. So they were able to actually use this to clear a lot of the debris, those pieces of wood, the tools, everything else off of the interstate and help get I-95 open that much faster. Now, we do know the driver of that black vehicle there. They were taken to the hospital this morning. We're working to learn more about their condition as well as any charges they may be facing. We'll bring you those details as soon as we get them. Anthony?
All right, thanks for that live report out there. Again, this is going up to Keene Road to the north and then I-40 eastbound, kind of in between those two major intersections, if you will. I-95 northbound. We'll continue to track that crash really closely here, but at least one lane is now open at this point. We have I-40 westbound at I-440 eastbound. Also a crash showing up there on the entrance ramp. No major delays showing up with that one, though. All the sensors are still in the green, but we'll watch to see if we see some slowdowns there. Otherwise, looking pretty good here across the area. We have about an 11-minute delay US 1 south from Wake Forest and only a 5-minute delay I-87 southbound from Knightdale.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Today, school administrators from across the state are in Raleigh. They'll be talking about their priorities for your child's education in the face of possible federal funding cuts. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the Raleigh Convention Center, and Kelsey, Governor Josh Stein and State Superintendent Mo Green, they will be part of this conversation.
Yes, Michelle, hundreds of school administrators are already arriving here at the Raleigh Convention Center for a conference this morning. They have a lot of topics that they're going to be covering throughout this week, including ways to keep your students safe. Today, the governor and the state superintendent will speak to these school leaders. They'll talk about their initiatives for public education. This is all a part of the North Carolina Association of School Administrators Conference. We spoke with the executive director of the association, Catherine Joyce. She says school safety is top of mind during this week's conference.
What we are featuring at our conference in regards to school safety are some of those highlights that are lessons learned and things that can help other school leaders put in place good practices for their own schools and students.
This conference is happening as the future of the Department of Education is still in question. This week, school leaders are brainstorming about how to handle possible federal funding cuts. School leaders from the conference met with state lawmakers yesterday about this issue, and Joy says the state superintendent will check in with these local leaders to give them an update about federal funding this week. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And WRAL will be there as Stein and Green discuss the priorities for your child's education. Watch WRAL News from 4 to 7:30 this evening. The Durham Public School Board will talk tonight about Superintendent Anthony Lewis's plan to balance the budget. The district is facing a $6.9 million budget deficit. That's much less than the original estimate of $34 million. Durham Public Schools saved millions by cutting 15% of each department's budget at the start of the school year. School leaders say the deficit comes from unbudgeted staff positions, charter school funding, child nutrition costs, and master's pay for teachers, among other places. Tonight's meeting gets started at 6:30. In her first State of the City address, Raleigh Mayor Janet Cowell highlighted reducing violent crime and making housing more affordable as her top priorities. Cowell says the city's crime rate is trending in a positive direction. Violent crime is down. Property crime is also down. And the homicide rate, that has stayed about the same. She says she wants to boost police pay and increase the number of officers on the force to help keep the city safe. Cowell also says as the city grows, that means changes.
We live in a great city. It's been a great city, and we want to retain many of those historical things that make it special. We also have to grow for the future.
Mayor Cowell says rent has gone up more than 50%, and the income needed to afford a house has doubled. She celebrated City Council's recent approval of 13 housing projects and says they plan to keep that up. Well, the state health department says it'll lose more than 80 jobs because of cuts at the federal level. The Trump administration announced it's ending several federal grants. The state says along with those 80 jobs, it is set to lose more than $100 million in funding in areas like immunization and behavioral health. DHHS says that money directly contributes to the health and well-being of people here in North Carolina. And today, the state Senate is expected to pass a bill that would require more transparency for hospital bills. It would also provide more protections against being put into collections for unpaid medical debt. The House, however, is not expected to advance the bill. Yesterday, hundreds of nurses filled the halls of the state legislative building. They pressed state for changes that will lower the cost of health care. At the top of their list is allowing advanced practice nurses to treat patients without a doctor's supervision. Many nurse practitioners have to pay a doctor for supervision, and that can cost thousands of dollars a month. Advanced practice nurse Bonnie Meadows says it often doesn't add much to the patient's care.
It's more so just them signing off on charts. Most practitioners, they don't even see their physicians. They might see them a phone call once a year. And so that is usually the regular basis.
The North Carolina Medical Society, which represents doctors, opposes the change. They say doctor supervision helps keep patients safe. Well, tonight, Duke is taking the court in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. The Blue Devils are the top seed in the tournament's East region. They'll play 4-seed Arizona tonight in Newark, New Jersey. Tip-off is scheduled for 9:39 p.m. Duke played Arizona earlier in the season and beat them in Tucson. The winner of tonight's game will advance to the Elite Eight on Saturday to play either Alabama or BYU. And coming up in the next half hour, we'll check in with WRAL's Chris Lee, who is in Newark for that game. He'll break down the North Carolina connections the Blue Devils will face later tonight. And today, small businesses will come together for the Consult Your Community Fair at NC State. The event will bring more than 60 small businesses and feature food trucks, live music, and yard games to the university campus. It gives an opportunity for local entrepreneurs to show their products, network with other small business leaders, and connect with the community. The Small Business Fair will run from 1 to 6 p.m. on the Stafford Commons Green. Coming up, releasing the records. The Atlantic publishes all of the messages after its editor-in-chief was accidentally included in a chat with Trump officials. The fallout over potentially classified information. And the founding of the fair. NC State honors the North Carolina State Fair with a new exhibit, the showcase of more than 170 years of history. Elizabeth?
And widespread temperatures in the 30s this morning, but we'll warm on up into the mid-60s this afternoon with a good bit of sunshine. I'll show you what will cause our temperatures to jump on into the 80s by the weekend coming up.
Welcome back. Good morning to everybody in downtown Raleigh as we take a live look there at the Legislative Building. 8:13 on your Thursday morning, Friday Eve. It's a chilly one out there this morning. You definitely need to bundle up as you're heading out the door. But by the time we get to the afternoon, you can lose the coat.
Temperatures will climb into the mid-60s this afternoon, feeling very much like yesterday, but it was definitely a colder start, 5 to 10 degrees colder than what we saw yesterday at this time. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, all looking pretty this morning. See the folks there in Chapel Hill walking around, definitely in the long sleeves, the sweatshirts. Temperatures will warm up pretty quickly for us today, especially now that the sun has been up for a little while. The next thing that we're watching is a front that will arrive on Monday. Ahead of that, on Sunday, we have the potential for some at least isolated showers and thunderstorms, but our best chance of storms will come with the front on Monday. So let's walk through what's happening. This high pressure system rotating clockwise has been pushing the cold air in, but as it slides off the coast, it'll start to pull up some warmth from the south, and that will allow our temperatures to jump from 60s today to 80 degrees for tomorrow. That sets the stage for the chance for thunderstorms. We'll see more warm, moist air in place. This is Sunday at 9 a.m. Sunday first thing. Now Saturday is going to be just fine. It'll be nice and clear. Sunday we'll have a chance of a few afternoon and evening thunderstorms, but Futurecast isn't showing a whole lot of rain, at least on this run of the model. Monday at 7 a.m., there may be a few isolated showers, and then here comes the front. It doesn't arrive until much later in the day. This is 5:30, 6 o'clock. Some of the stronger storms maybe evening up until around midnight or so, and it does look like we have potentially a level 2 risk for severe storms on Monday, and that would be mainly straight line winds. How much rain are we talking about? Probably somewhere around 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of rain. Outdoor plans over the weekend, all good on Saturday, really looking pretty. And Friday, too. Lots of sunshine, warm, a bit breezy. And then Sunday, the first half of the day may be dry, but we'll continue to watch for the timing of some at least scattered showers and thunderstorms Sunday afternoon and evening. Monday brings us a better chance of severe storms fairly late in the day, but things should clear out by Tuesday. Tuesday's cooler at 68, but it is the home opener for the Durham Bulls. Anthony, I can't believe it already.
It's hard to believe that time is just about here. We head outside, though, this morning. Here's our live look, I should say our sensors are indicating there a crash on I-95 northbound. We've been watching this one here over the past probably hour or so. Keene Road to the north is where this was initially completely closed. They now have one lane open there, and it goes all the way down. There's I-40 eastbound, so you can see definitely a pretty large expanse to this delay, if you will. We'll keep watching that, but again, I-95 northbound at Keene Road. Also, I-40 westbound, right about I-440 eastbound, kind of on the entrance ramp there. We're not seeing any major delays with that one, but that is also a crash that's being reported. Those major approaches here into both Raleigh and Durham, we're keeping a close eye on them for you this morning. Again, the sensors with that crash looking pretty good. A slight delay US 1 south from Wake Forest, about 8 minutes. Also a delay there showing up I-87 southbound from Knightdale, about a 4-minute delay.
All right, thank you, Anthony. A Durham man facing charges in a deadly crash involving a stolen car remains in jail without bond. Sharon Evans faces 6 charges, including second-degree murder. The crash last week killed 53-year-old Jermaine Clement, who was on his way to a medical appointment. Evans has faced dozens of charges for stealing cars over the last 18 months. The assistant DA read a statement from Clement's family during Evans' court appearance.
This senseless act of violence has left our family heartbroken and angry. Jermaine did not deserve to leave this life in such a manner, and we are struggling to come to terms with the tragic loss of someone so dear to us. We respectfully ask this court to hold the responsible party fully accountable and to apply the strictest penalty for this criminal act.
Evans faces more than 55 years in prison if he's convicted on all charges. He's due back in court next month. This morning, Congress will hold a hearing about the in-air plane crash that happened in Washington, D.C. Back in January, an Army Black Hawk helicopter hit an American Airlines plane above the Potomac River. 67 people died in that crash. Investigators from the NTSB and the FAA will face questions from the Senate. Among them, why no policy changes were made after the NTSB identified 85 dangerous close calls between planes and helicopters near Washington's Ronald Reagan National Airport the 3 years before that crash. And The Atlantic released what it says are all the sensitive messages received by their editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg. Goldberg reportedly got the text when he was accidentally included in a group chat with top Trump officials. The newly unveiled messages included details like strike times and weapons to be used on Houthi targets.
If the timing of a combat mission, an imminently launched combat mission, is not sensitive government information, I simply don't know what is.
Multiple members of the group chat say no classified information was shared. They say war plans would include strike locations, flight paths, and unit information. President Trump says his defense leaders are doing a great job and calls additional attention placed on this chat leak a witch hunt. Well, 6 months after Hurricane Helene, some people have been living without power or water for months, dealing with dead ends and red tape in western North Carolina. Tonight, hear what's taking so long for people to get the help they need. WRAL investigates tonight at 6. And the city of Raleigh wants your input on their 5-year plan. The Raleigh Consolidated Plan lays out how the city will use $4.5 million in funding to create affordable housing, address homelessness, and serve low-income communities from 2026 to 2030. A draft of the plan is available, and an event will be held tonight for anyone with comments on the proposal. That meeting gets started at 6 o'clock at the Carolina Pines Community Center. The Trump administration has plans to implement new tariffs on foreign cars. President Trump announced he'll put a 25% tariff on all imported vehicles. The administration says this will raise $100 billion in tax revenue. Trump previously said the new tariffs would go into effect on April 2nd. Former North Carolina Congressman Dan Bishop will help oversee the federal budget. The U.S. Senate confirmed Bishop to be the number 2 official at the White House Office of Management and Budget. Bishop lost the 2024 election for North Carolina Attorney General to Democrat Jeff Jackson.
And Jeff Hogan at the WRAL Live Center getting some updates on that tourist submarine that sunk off the coast of Egypt in the Red Sea, killing 6 people, injuring 9 others. And of those 9, there are several of those people who have been critically injured. Now, the Russian embassy is reporting on Facebook that all of the tourists on board were Russian nationals, and there were more than 40 people on board that vessel, including children there. The boat, the name of the boat is Sinbad. This is the type of boat it was. This is not the actual vessel there. It's being said that it sank close to the harbor. It had been running tourist trips in this area right off a popular tourist destination there in Egypt called Hurghada. There are beautiful beaches there, apparently some coral reefs to be seen. It's been doing those tours for several years. There's been no cause determined yet of what sunk that submarine.
Oh, so sad. All right, thanks, Jeff. NC State's Hill Library is hosting a new exhibit celebrating the North Carolina State Fair. You can enjoy a look at the State Fair from its founding in 1853 through the decades. The exhibit, A Fair to Remember, considers why we love the fair so much and its roots in agricultural education. An opening is being held at 1 o'clock this afternoon to celebrate the new gallery. A community in Edgecombe County is coming together to support a 4-year-old boy suffering from terminal cancer. Timothy Stamatis loves fire trucks, and local crews gave him a parade in his honor to brighten his spirits. Fire trucks and other emergency vehicles rolled through Timothy's neighborhood in Pine Tops last night. He was diagnosed last year with stage 4 kidney cancer. After months of surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, doctors have given him weeks to live. His family talked about how much the little boy means to them.
And that 4-year-old grandson of mine is my hero. He has shown me things that grown people could never show me. And I love him, and he's the diamond of my eye.
Timothy's grandfather is a volunteer firefighter. He made some calls to organize the parade to show Timothy how much everyone loves and supports him. The Fayetteville Police Department is accepting applications for its 2025 Citizens Police Academy. The program gives you a behind-the-scenes look at the department. It offers hands-on experience with various units. The academy is limited to 20 people. It'll meet every Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. starting April 8th. Well, the final Dreamville Festival is starting to take shape. Sky 5 flew over Dix Park, where you can see trucks and construction equipment on site there. Crews appear to be working on a stage along with other preps. The music festival is happening Saturday, April 5th and Sunday, April 6th. Lil Wayne and J. Cole are headliners. VIP tickets are still available. Well, coming up, talking to Mo, the state superintendent wants to hear from parents. The listening session this evening in Cumberland County.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Good morning and happy Thursday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. It's a chilly start out there, but we will warm up nicely this afternoon. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a look around town.
It's a pretty day, but just kind of a crisp spring day. 37 right now in Wilson and Durham, 40 in Fayetteville. Temperatures have begun to creep up a little bit, but as we get into the, say, 9 o'clock hour, we'll really see those numbers jumping up. Still 32 in Siler City and Roxborough, but elsewhere we're climbing on up into the mid to upper 30s. We had a lot of towns showing up at freezing this morning. Still freezing for Robbins and Sanford right now, 34 degrees in Smithfield. The frost advisory only lasts for another 30 minutes or so. We will climb into the mid 60s with some sunshine this afternoon. Anthony?
Elizabeth, as we head out to the roads this morning, we've been watching several crashes. The first of which here is on Strickland Road southbound at Falls of Noose Road. That one just popped up, and we are seeing some delays with that. Also seeing one, though, I-95 northbound. This was closed for a time at Keene Road. That right lane is now still open at this point. We're seeing a little bit of progress. We do have a live look, though, of this scene. Definitely been seeing some big-time issues out there. If you can get over that, the left lane is still moving at this point. We'll keep watching this. Those are the two crashes we're watching here very closely this morning.
Thanks, Anthony. Hundreds of school administrators will gather in Raleigh today for a conference on public education. Governor Stein and State Superintendent Mo Green will be part of the conversation. Several topics are on the agenda, including student safety and cuts to federal funding. And Duke returns to the NCAA play up against number 4 Arizona in a Sweet 16. The Blue Devils are the final men's team from the Triangle, still in the tournament. Tonight's game is in Newark, New Jersey. Tip-off is 9:39. Next on Fox 50, expanding containment. Fire crews make progress as wildfires rage in western North Carolina. And coming up next on Today, Seth Rogen in Studio 1A to chat about his new hit show, The Studio.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Most of us still seeing 30s this morning as you're heading out the door, but I'll show you how fast it will warm up over the next few hours.
And this morning we've been watching a crash on I-95 northbound causing some big time backups. We'll talk about the latest with this and get a live report from the scene coming up.
Also on Fox 50 at 8:30, rebuilding. It's been 6 months since Hurricane Helene tore through North Carolina. The progress being made and the path ahead out west. Also improving containment. Firefighters are making progress on wildfires burning in the mountains of North Carolina. The damage so far with new fires reported in multiple counties. Thanks for sticking with us here on Fox 50 at 8:30. I'm Michelle McConaughey. If you are heading out the door, maybe on your way to work, grab the jacket this morning. You're going to need it this morning. You might even turn the heat on in the car. It's a little chilly out there, Elizabeth.
It's cold. Temperatures widespread in the 30s. We had a lot of folks seeing temperatures near freezing. I would say at least half of the viewing area, at least where the thermometers are that we check. But now it's starting to warm up. Still 32 in Roxborough, but we're climbing into the mid to upper 30s. It's even 40 now in Fayetteville and Clinton. We zoom in a little closer around the Triangle. Still 31 in Chapel Hill, but elsewhere, more warming above freezing, 36 in Cary, 38 in Garner, it's 35 in Wake Forest at this point. Our 24-hour temperature change still much colder than yesterday, 5 to 10 degrees colder this afternoon, though temperatures will be similar to yesterday. We're seeing sunshine here at North Hills. 37 is our current temperature. Our winds are light now, but it'll be a little gusty this afternoon. Not as windy as yesterday, but we still have high fire danger. Temperatures in the mid-60s, which is close to normal, but I'll show you what happens to cause our temperatures to climb as much as 15 degrees for tomorrow. Anthony?
Elizabeth, we head out to the roads this morning. I'm going to start you off with a crash here on Strickland Road southbound at Falls of Noose Road. Also seeing, you can see just north of this crash, some delays there on I-540. So in this direction, just make sure to take it slow. I do think we could definitely see some delays. The big crash here that we've been watching too, I-95 northbound at Keene Road. Major backups are still showing up on this scene. Keene Road is where this was closed initially. We've seen that right lane still closed. The left lane is open at this point. We do, though, have WRAL's Eric Miller out there at the scene. He's been watching this crash. Eric, if you will, set the stage for us, and what are you seeing with this latest area right now?
Anthony, we're having to do a lot of moving around here this morning to stay out of the way of first responders dealing with the aftermath of this crash. That includes the wrecker crew that's just arrived on scene trying to tow away this black Camaro you see right there. The front end absolutely smashed in. This crash happened just after 6 this morning. State Highway Patrol tells us the driver of this Camaro was out here driving recklessly and slammed into multiple other vehicles, causing this crash. In the last few minutes, we had the chance to speak with the driver of a work vehicle. They were towing a trailer that was rear-ended by this black Camaro. They said they ended up rolling 3 to 4 times. Amazingly, nobody in that vehicle was seriously injured. The driver of this black Camaro did have to go to the hospital. We're going to learn more about his condition as well as any charges he may be facing. As we swing the camera around the other direction here, you can see more of the mess that this crash left behind. All of this debris was scattered across I-95 earlier this morning, immediately after the crash. This debris and that skid steer you see there in the background, all of it came tumbling off the back of a trailer that was being towed by that work truck. That skid steer, amazingly, even though much of the roof is caved in, is still operational. And the guys who were in that work truck, even after flipping 4 times, they were able to get out, get that skid steer moving, and then use it to help clear off the interstate and get these lanes reopened. Now, there is currently 1 lane of I-95 that's open right now. Crews have narrowed it back down to 1 lane as they're working to tow this Camaro out of the way. It's not immediately clear when both lanes are going to reopen, so if you are getting on I-95 northbound headed past 4 Oaks, you're going to want to keep this in mind for the foreseeable future. Anthony.
Thank you, Eric. Great report out there this morning. We're going to continue to watch this here over the next couple of hours, but they are, again, trying to make some progress clearing this scene. Keene Road is where this was initially completely closed, and then there's I-40 back to the west, kind of that stretch, if you will, and then it does start to clear up as you get closer to, let's say, Smithfield this morning. A couple other crashes here around the area to talk about. That one is causing the most delays at this point, I would say. About a 3-minute delay, I would say, there on I-98 westbound from North Carolina 50. Also on US 1 southbound. That one has made some progress into the Durham area. I-40 westbound from Wade Avenue, about a 4-minute delay this morning.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Education priorities, school safety, and the impacts of federal funding cuts are big topics for hundreds of school leaders who are meeting in Raleigh today. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains how they're preparing for changes.
Hundreds of school administrators are meeting here at the Raleigh Convention Center today. They have several topics to cover on their agenda, including ways to keep your students safe. Today, the governor and the state superintendent are joining in on this conversation. They're sharing their initiatives for public education. This is all a part of the North Carolina Association of School Administrators Conference. This conference is happening as the future of the Department of Education is still in question. We spoke with the executive director of the association, Catherine Joyce. She says this week school leaders are brainstorming about how to handle possible federal funding cuts.
If we do see cuts that come from the federal level, there's going to have to be some stopgap measures. So we will be having those conversations as this legislative session unfolds.
Joyce says schools will need support from both the county and the state level if federal dollars aren't available anymore. So that's why some of the folks from this conference met with state lawmakers yesterday. Joyce says that the state superintendent will update local leaders about federal funding this week. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And WRAL will be there as Stein and Green discuss the priorities for your child's education. Watch WRAL News from 4 to 7:30 this evening. Tonight, the state superintendent of schools will also make the trip down to Cumberland County to hear from you. Mo Green is hosting sessions across the state as part of his Mo Wants to Know tour. The event invites all parents, students, and educators to make their voices heard on school issues. It gets started at 6 o'clock this evening at Westover High School. Green will host another event at Durham's Northern High School on April 7th. In her first State of the City address, Raleigh Mayor Janet Cowell highlighted reducing violent crime and making housing more affordable as her top goals. Cowell says the city is short by more than 37,000 housing units. Rent has gone up more than 50%, and the income needed to afford a house has doubled. She celebrated City Council's recent approval of 13 housing projects and says they plan to keep that up. She also says crime is trending downward.
We do all of that with fewer police and fire and emergency call center than the typical city when you look at the number per population.
Cowell says that she wants to boost police pay and increase the number of officers on the force to help keep the city safe. And today, Governor Stein will be in western North Carolina to meet with officials about the response to wildfires there. Firefighters are making some progress. In Polk County, crews say they have been able to improve containment of the Black Cove and Deep Woods fires. Fires in western North Carolina have destroyed at least 11 homes and burned more than 6,000 acres. More people are being asked to evacuate their homes. A firefighter was also hurt during the containment effort. New wildfires have also popped up in Haywood, Buncombe, and Rutherford counties. And after he visits Polk County, Governor Stein will commemorate the 6-month anniversary of Hurricane Helene. He'll visit the Fairview Volunteer Fire Department in Buncombe County. He plans to honor the 106 people who lost their lives in flooding as Helene devastated the region back in September. Well, tonight, Duke is taking the court in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. They'll play 4th seed Arizona tonight in Newark, New Jersey. WRAL's Chris Lee is there as the Blue Devils prepare to meet some familiar faces.
Duke back in the Sweet 16 for the second straight year. They've had some very interesting matchups along the way, including eliminating Baylor, featuring a former Blue Devil in Jeremy Roach. Now Duke is getting ready for what seems like a conference game against Arizona. The Blue Devils lost at home against the Wildcats last season. This year, Duke returned the favor and beat them on the road in Tucson, but that was 4 months ago. Duke is a different team and much better. They say the Wildcats are different as well, but there's a familiar face on the Wildcats that will be battling Duke for the final time. Former UNC player Caleb Love, but Duke won't play up that angle.
We're just trying to win a ball game at the end of the day. It's not about one person. It's about us pretty much. We put so much work into the game this year, this summer. So, it's not about one person. It's about what we want to do collectively as a team.
Of course, Love famously hit the shot that sent Duke home in the Final Four 3 years ago. Now he can do the same. Or, just like Jeremy Roach, Duke can end his career with a win. There's another local tie for the Wildcats. Former Campbell sharpshooter Anthony Del Orso transferred from Bowie's Creek last year to Tucson this season. He could be a factor for the Wildcats in this game. So get your rest because this one tips off very late tonight, 9:39 Duke versus Arizona. The winner makes it to the Elite Eight. In Newark, New Jersey, I'm Chris Lee, WRAL Sports.
It's going to be a good game, and these are going to be good games as well. All 3 of our Triangle's women's teams will play Sweet 16 games tomorrow. Duke and UNC will be playing each other in Birmingham, Alabama. That game is at 2:30, and NC State will be in Spokane, Washington to play LSU. Tip-off for that one is 7:30. And tonight, Wake County residents can learn how their tax dollars are being used. One of several learning sessions will be held at Eva Perry Regional Library. Leaders will share details of Wake County's $2 billion budget and how those dollars are put to work. It all starts at 6:30 p.m. Standing for something, former college swimmer Riley Gaines speaks at Duke, supporting a bill to limit the rights of transgender people, why some opposed her visit to the university. Plus, breaking the curse, it's opening day for Major League Baseball. How a century-old ball could be the link to the White Sox's losing record. And we are waking up frosty this morning. You're looking live over downtown Cary Park. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking the temperature turnaround with when we'll climb back into the 80s. Welcome back. Take a look at this beautiful view over Carolina Beach this morning. As you look live there, I did see one person walking, taking advantage of this beautiful morning we have. It is chilly. You do need a jacket, but that's all going to change later on this afternoon. We'll warm up nicely. And what a temperature turnaround we have for tomorrow, Elizabeth.
Looking at temperature at nearly 80 degrees during the afternoon, and the nice warm weather will hang around through the weekend. Definitely the coldest morning of the week. So if you don't like this, it's okay. It's moving on out. Tomorrow will be noticeably warmer. Temperatures are starting to climb from freezing on into the 40s in some places. 40 in Fayetteville and Clinton, 46 in South Hill, still 32 in Roxborough, 35 in Southern Pines. We're getting there. We take a look at temperatures closer to the Triangle, still 32 in Chapel Hill, but 42 now in Zebulon, 38 in Cary, and 41 in Garner. So it's still cold out there, but we are seeing the temperatures beginning to warm up now. The average last freeze that we see during the year is typically, or in the spring, is around the 8th of April in the Triangle. The earliest last freeze of the spring season was March the 7th, 2010, and the latest was May 8th, 1989. So this is still, well within the range of normal for us to see some freezing temperatures this time of year. Once you get to the middle of April, it becomes a little bit more abnormal, but not, completely out of the question. So if you were planning to do any planting, you may want to give it another week to 2 weeks. It gets you in the safer zone. In Apex, it's beautiful this morning. Lots of sunshine. Right now, 37 in the Triangle. It's a quick warm up to nearly 60 at lunchtime, and we'll see highs in the mid-60s this afternoon, which is pretty much exactly what we saw yesterday. Yesterday was pretty windy. It won't be as windy this afternoon, so it may feel a little bit more comfortable. Yesterday, without a jacket, felt pretty chilly out there. The blue shaded area is where temperatures are below normal, and we will see temperatures warming considerably for tomorrow into Saturday, and it stays mild into early next week. But on Sunday and Monday, we're going to be talking about a chance for rain. I'll show you that in just a minute. But we'll go from 66 today, which is pretty close to normal, to 80 on Friday and 81 on Saturday. Both fantastic days to get outside. The first half of the day on Sunday is likely to be dry, but after that, some showers and storms. Our winds are pretty calm at the moment, and we'll see gusts up to around 10, maybe 15 miles per hour this afternoon, which is less than yesterday, but still enough for high fire danger. For Sunday afternoon and evening, we have a small chance for scattered storms, a better chance when a cold front comes through Monday, late afternoon and evening. We do have the chance of some severe storms, but it should move on out by Tuesday. Tuesday, the home opener for the Durham Bulls right now looks cool but dry.
Very nice, Sarah. Thanks, Elizabeth. Former college swimmer turned activist Riley Gaines is showing her support for a bill limiting the rights of transgender people in North Carolina. Gaines stopped by Duke University to speak to a room full of athletes and community supporters. Her visit was not welcomed by all, though. Protesters on campus did not want to speak on camera. They used posters to advocate for trans athletes. Gaines rose to prominence in 2022 after she swam against a transgender woman in the NCAA championships. That athlete, Leah Thomas, won a medal. Gaines spoke exclusively with WRAL about why she chose to speak at Duke.
It's just been a mission of mine the past probably 2 years or so to get on college campuses and do what I can to really help engage and mobilize the youth. I think we're a demographic that's often left out of these important conversations. I'm not standing against anyone or anything. I am very much standing for something, and what I'm standing for is women. So I welcome all.
And you can see more of our exclusive interview with Riley Gaines on WRAL.com and our YouTube page. Family and friends of a 7-year-old boy who drowned in the Tar River are honoring his life. Dozens gathered for a vigil last night near the spot where Ronald Brody Jr. fell into the river last week in Franklin County. His body was found on Tuesday. Loved ones released balloons in his memory. Family and friends say he was a sweet and caring boy. They say they will continue to need support as they process their grief. Wildfires burning in South Carolina are growing and remain 0% contained. Officials in Greenville say the Persimmon Ridge fire has tripled in size and burned almost 1,000 acres. The Table Rock fire is burning in neighboring Pickens County, scorching more than 2,200 acres. The Pickens County Sheriff's Office says that fire was started by 4 teenagers and charges are pending. Hundreds of homes are under evacuation orders. A North Carolina teenager and popular social media influencer has died. 16-year-old Joshua Blackledge gained notoriety online for sharing car content to more than 1 million followers on TikTok. According to his obituary, Blackledge died earlier this month at his home in Newport. Hundreds have posted online sharing condolences and memories. His cause of death was not announced. Today is Major League Baseball's opening day, and fans of one team are hoping they've broken a curse after 3 losing seasons. A baseball from the 1919 World Series. It was found inside Chicago's Tribune Tower during renovations in 2022. And that World Series is known for Chicago White Sox players taking money to throw games. The ball was moved to the Chicago Sports Museum after it was found. And the White Sox have been losing ever since. And now the ball has been returned to the Tribune Tower in hopes of breaking that curse. We'll have to see. Well, Disney World is offering 50% off kids' tickets all summer long. The promo runs from the end of May through September 20th and only applies to tickets that are for 3 days or longer. The Orlando park says it wants to make it easier for families to come and experience the magic this summer. The deal applies to children ages 3 to 9 and is now available. And Avengers Assemble. Marvel releases the packed cast for the next franchise installment. And Lady Gaga announces a more intimate tour for her latest album. Ashley DeVorkin has a look in the Hollywood Nation.
Reviews don't matter.
A dance comedy, Gaga's Mayhem on Tour, and a Marvel marathon of an announcement in today's Hollywood Nation. Marvel had fans glued to a live stream and its socials for hours, announcing the cast of Avengers Doomsday, a cast which includes X-Men. Listing names on the back of directors' chairs, it started with Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Letitia Wright, and Paul Rudd. It went on to include Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and so many more. And it ended with Robert Downey Jr., who was previously announced as Dr. Doom. The star-packed action-adventure is in production now and in theaters May 1st, 2026. Lady Gaga is bringing the Mayhem on tour. In support of her new album, The Mayhem Ball has dates across North America, Europe, and the UK. Gaga says she wants it to be a different kind of experience, something more intimate, closer, and more connected, which lends itself to the live theatrical art she loves to create. The North American dates on the tour kick off July 16th in Las Vegas.
We trade our top talent.
Today's First Looks puts Étoile center stage. It's a new comedy from the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel creators Amy Sherman Palladino and Daniel Palladino. Set in the dance world, the series stars Luke Kirby and Charlotte Gainsbourg and follows 2 ballet companies swapping their most talented stars to save their institutions. All 8 episodes premiere April 24th on Prime Video.
And Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center right now, getting some breaking news in out of Washington, D.C. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s plan to cut 10,000 employees out of the health agencies. A major overhaul happening right here. Word just coming in. This has been reported by CNN right now. Wall Street Journal is reporting this as well. It comes on top of the 10,000 employees who have already left voluntarily. So this is going to reshape agencies. It'll close offices around the country, as well as the two combined, if they are to go through with the folks who have left voluntarily, as well as these cuts, it will amount to about a quarter of the health agency's workforce.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Reduced tariffs could be part of a deal to get TikTok sold to an American company. President Trump says he may consider cutting tariffs toward China to motivate the social media's parent company to sell. ByteDance has until April 5th to sell TikTok before a ban on the platform is reenacted. National security concerns are behind the ban, which was halted just before Trump took office. We'll have more news, weather, and traffic after the break.